Hello again, guys. This is now episode number 3 in a video series about the Toolkit Luminosity. And I'm gonna get now into normal mode again. I don't have to be educational and I don't have to impress you with just cool stuff. I'll be more about how I would use this. So I showed a little bit really quickly in the first video, so might be a little bit repetition, but this is more like real life scenario. And if you have the color wheels, it mixes together really nice, because then you can make your color adjustments into a specific area and fade it, because you can't fade as easy on curves because they are kind of stubborn. If you remember from dragging curves manually, if you have 3 points or 2 points and you drag 1 point down, the other one's gonna go up. There's a big chance that didn't make sense to anyone, but that's fine. The thing I want to say is, if you unintentionally lifted something in a way you don't want to with your color adjustments, then you can limit the change using blend if you know that it's for a specific luminosity range. Otherwise, you would just add a mask and paint. And you can do both when you have a blend if, which I think is pretty cool. So you don't need a big pixel mask that has the zone thing. You can use a blend if to fade an adjustment, and then on the mask, you can paint just in the area that you want it. So the mask doesn't contain all these pixel shade values. It only contains mostly black and then just a little bit of white where you want to do your adjustment. And then the blend if limits to a certain luminosity range. Okay, let's take that to a real life example. So if I want to change only the highlights with the color wheels, it's really easy. So let's close this and do curves. So let's pretend here a little bit. I'm gonna use this tool. Might be unfamiliar with some people. Just brighten this a little bit here, and then we'll go into this and say it's gonna be more red. Now you have a mask here, so you can paint it where you want it. But say that you first want to limit it to a certain zone range. You could try and go in here and change these, for example, if you don't want it in the blacks. Not on this one, because that's kind of strange, but you can go in and try and limit it so it sticks. So the normal, we're going into educational again. Sorry, guys. The normal way to get the curve to not affect a certain zone, you can do it, but what you need to do is put it on the center line. And you see what happens when I try and put this on the center line. It now dips here, and that might not be what you want. And same here. If I want this red to be here, and I like how it does the highlights, but I want to have the shadows normal, like, and I put them at the normal here. You see I dipped the whole thing and I made it darker here, and this one actually went up even further. So it's really difficult in curves to limit it to a certain range because it has like a rubber band effect. When I drag one point, it's gonna affect the other stuff. So what I do a lot in my adjustments with color is I have a curve which only has one point, and I use the color wheels, and I can show how these work together later. But for example, let's do it the manual way, and let's not mess with color because I don't want to mix between here too much. But let's say want to darken this area here. So we put the point, and that's and then I can try and take away the highlights. So we have most of the, I'm gonna affect a little bit of skin. There's no way around it, because if I go too far I start to affect the t-shirt. But that's the cool thing. Now I have a blend if that limits this to this, because I wanted to darken the shirt, if you remember. So I have help from my blend if. So when I now do the mask, if I invert this and I paint here now, I don't have to be so careful because I'm doing a really bad job because it's low flow. I only have to be careful where the luminosity is the same as the shirt. Otherwise, I can be really sloppy. So I can paint out here. Nothing's happening. If you look at the mask, look, it's gonna look horrible. A really bad job. But it still did a good job at limiting the curve that I did because of the blend if. So for example, if I turn off the blend if, you can see it does a lot. Like we zoom in here, it's a perfect example. Because I combined blend if, and this flip here turns off the blend if temporarily, you can see what happens. Start to affect the skin. I went a little bit too far with my blend if because I see that I'm keeping the highlights of the shirt, but I actually like this to stay. Still looks a lot darker, even though some of the highlights are fading a little bit here. But that's more of a realistic example how you can combine things, and why I think blend if is really cool, and why it's so good to have the quick access to a slider like this. And then you can put, if you decide to make more adjustments, and you have this in a group, there's an easy way here to copy this blend if, and you can put the blend if on the group, and then you can remove it from here if you want, and you have to move the mask as well then, but do that, and put this back in the group. There we go. Sometimes Photoshop messes with you, but yeah, I like this copy and paste, quite easy thing to do, because now I can do more adjustments in this group, and it's going to be limited by the blend if and the mask. Yes, I hope the people that watch this that aren't very experienced, that are sort of beginners or new to Photoshop, won't see this as this is the way you have to do it, because Connie does this advanced thing where he combines this and he copies it into a group. No. you don't. Like the basic thing is you could do an adjustment here just like this, and then you limit it with the easy sliders. Done. Like you really don't have to go advanced like I just did. I just wanted to show that with this panel you have the possibility to really go crazy, basically. Do another curve. I'm not gonna leave blend if yet. I think I will stay in blend if for the rest of this video and then continue to working mask after this. So again, these up here is a quick way to do to move the sliders. Just a quicker way to do zones, so to speak. I know I said zones suck, but this is not intended to be used as zones. It's just a very familiar way. Like for example, my light meter, I shoot a lot of analog cameras, uses this Ansel Adams system. So I'm familiar with it, so I know I like to have it. And the help layers are really useful if you're just starting out. You can just drag this back and forth up here. That's why these buttons are here, like the zones. And then of course fade as you wish. The buttons up here have right click and left click by default. And the right click will fade, will create a softer effect. So if you want to have a curve that mostly affects the darks, the right click on this one is gonna create a really soft result. And again, you can like do this yourself. You can do even this. Then it's only the only thing that's gonna get 100% of the effect is the true blacks. But that's not really what you want to do. You can also cross these, which can create some cool stuff. Then you have to think a little bit on the under part here. The brightest part is where I have my mouse now. I don't know if you can see it on the YouTube video, but these crossfades are quite interesting. You want really smooth, but if you cross these like so, you will not get 100% of the effect that you do here on the layer on anything if we turn this off. Okay, crystal clear now. Confusing again, sorry guys. If you want to use it the easy way, just click on this and look what, actually turn on one of these and click around here a bit. You can right click and see this might be targeting almost exactly what you want, and then you just drag a little bit and then you have selection or whatever you want to call it, and you can turn off the, and then you know that whatever you do now is just in that range. So if you want to add a little bit of warmth, you can do that. And it's in this range. So before, after. Okay. I think that's it for this video about blend if. There is a few more things I showed in the first video, how to do a lay mask. There's an advanced thing here. No, I'll cover this in a different video. Going into these is also very, very advanced, so we'll do it later. So see you in the next one. We'll go through the working mask. And thank you for watching.